morning and welcome to Vlogmas Day 13. Just to clear a few things up, yes, it is December, yes, I live in Ohio, and yes, I am wearing short sleeves. It has been ridiculously warm here, but I can't say I'm complaining. Okay, maybe I have been complaining a little bit because I, would like it to snow on Christmas, but also can't beat when it's like 60 degrees outside, even in December. On my way to church now.
You're here. We're actually at the tail end, so we're finishing a semester, but we're also finishing a teaching series that we've been going through here at H2O called With. And the idea behind this series is it's a study through the book of Psalms, and we couldn't, of course, go through the whole book in the semester, so we just picked, I think, 4 or 5 Psalms. And the reason that we particularly love this series here is because the Psalms are pretty raw. They're, I don't know, there are times when you're reading some statements or phrases in the book of Psalms and you can even think to yourself, is that okay to say that? Is that all right? Is it okay to say that to God or to say that about God? And the idea is that they stir genuine emotion. They allow for the reality of life and how that impacts our emotions. And we see authors, mostly David, but other Psalm authors that are writing their true emotional expressions. And we get to close off this morning with the topic of joy. The Bible is actually full of words about joy. In reality, there are over 400 references to joy or rejoicing in the Bible, and that is a lot. That is a lot of examples. And so if you try to tackle the topic of joy from a kind of a Bible study perspective, you're going to find that it's very in-depth. It's not as simple as just this core emotion that we experience when we're happy. Because some of the references are that in the Bible, of the 400, a bunch of them are what I would call circumstantial joy. So they're joy that is the result of very happy, pleasant things that are life events, like a good harvest for a farmer, or victory in a battle. Those are causes for this circumstantial joy, which we find in the Bible. But then there are also even more examples of this other kind of joy, which I'll call spiritual joy. And spiritual joy is not tied into life events. It's kind of this separate thing that's caused by a number of different ideas, like obedience to God causes us joy. Just obeying God brings about this spiritual joy. Or, our salvation. There is joy that is attached to our salvation. That brings us joy in understanding who Jesus is. And the first example we see of spiritual joy is actually in an unborn baby who's inside. John the Baptist is inside of his mother's womb. And when his mother gets close to Mary, who has the baby Jesus in her womb, it says that John the Baptist jumps for joy inside of the womb. And so we see spiritual joy happening even before birth. And so there's lots of examples of joy. We're even commanded at times to have joy. We see things like Psalm 32, which says, "Be glad and rejoice in the Lord." Be glad and rejoice in the Lord. In Philippians 4, it says, "Rejoice in the Lord always." Again, I will say, rejoice. And so, while there is no, this is why it was tough for me, there is no formula, there is no packaged way to present this idea of joy in the Bible. There is one thing that is very consistent and clear throughout the whole Bible, and it probably going to be the most obvious thing I say this morning, but joy is desirable. Okay, right? Joy is desirable. And this is biblical. Okay? Do what it takes to get joy. Go find joy and grab it and bring it in. And I'll take it a step further and say, God wants our joy. God actually wants our joy. Not just wants our joy, He commands our joy. And I think what we might miss about this, what we might miss about God wanting our joy, is that He is not actually wanting or desiring. His chief goal is not our circumstantial joy, but rather our deeper spiritual joy.
The H2O kids to join us in Go Town on the Mountain. Give it up for them, guys.
It is just such a beautiful day today. Like, it's a little cloudy, but it's warm. Like, feels like spring. Like I'm graduating in May. I was talking to Michelle today after church, and she was like, do you think that, like, big blankets are part of your aesthetic? I was like, yes, they are. I'll just wear blankets, if ever. Time for some Starbucks. My keys are on my hand, which makes it awkward. People are looking at me. NBD.
There you go.
Thank you.
No problem.
I always really love hanging out with Celine and working on our projects. We laugh a lot, and it's kind of fun because we have two classes that we can talk about, / rant about, / complain about, / critique each other on. So I'm at the Brewers now, and I'm going to be taking pictures for my visual storytelling project, which is almost done. Like, just getting these last couple of images. It's due on Tuesday, so, you know, probably will have already turned it in once this is posted. That's crazy. So, yeah, and then working on some more homework, and then I'm going out to dinner with my roommates. Last hoorah of the semester, as they do say. Salsitas! Dinner time!
I'm gonna say it! Work at me? What do you get?
Just filming my chicken quesadillas.
Are you?
Holy eating fried ice cream.
Oh.
Hello, friends. Again, that ice cream was delicious. Still kind of have a food baby like hours later. I am back at home now, obviously, and I've been working on some homework and watching movies. I watched The King's Speech, which is just such a good movie. Like, wow, so good. And now I have moved on to The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, which is literally one of my favorite movies of all time. I would highly recommend that you see it, because it's visually stunning, the storyline is great, and Ben Stiller is actually really good in this movie. So yeah, homeworking, and probably gonna try to be in bed soonish, as soon as I finish this paper and get everything. Oh, it's not gonna be that soon. Finals week, man. I'll be done by Wednesday. Just have to make it through 3 days. 3 very long days. Doing the classic iPhone light with camera for my sign out. It is like 1:30. I'm exhausted and going to bed because I have a lot of stuff to do tomorrow, but it'll all get done. But I did get kind of a lot done tonight, so that's good. But still lots to do tomorrow. Sorry I haven't been editing these and uploading them every day because, you know, finals week is busy. But I'll get caught up eventually. Alright, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow.